What's going on, Opecast? It's Braden, and today I have a very special guest. He's a visionary, an artist, a fashion guru, community leader, and so much more. I'm sitting here with Christopher of Field Club Media. Christopher, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Good to see you.
Usually I say welcome to the studio, but I guess I welcome myself here. People know you from everything you're doing in the community, or some of the people listening, some of the people watching. But one thing we like to do on this podcast is first dive into the story of you and how you came here to St. Louis, Profield, Field Club. So let's dive into you.
Yeah. Where does my story begin here in St. Louis? I arrived here 10, 11, 12 years ago.
You're not originally from St. Louis. How did you end up coming here, and what led you here?
Yeah. My first company that brought me here, it was to the point where it needed to expand because I was operating it out of like a small town, like out of the basement of like the house I grew up in. So with the success of it, it just didn't feel right to be like building it there. And I just always envisioned myself like, I don't know, living in the city, like having the city life and having access to the resources and just the things that I would want out of life that the small town couldn't like provide. So made the decision to move my family up here. So we came up here, ended up renting out a warehouse actually down on Jefferson, which isn't too far from the shop. And I was there for like 6-7 years. It was kind of like head down, working on what I thought was the career, my career path, and the opportunity came up to take this space. I just kind of wanted to pivot at that time into just using the skill set that I had kind of like built over time into opening like a retail spot that was focused on sportswear. And I kind of wanted to carry shoes and just things like that. It was just trying to create just a really cool, like you didn't retail experience.
You didn't want to be put in just one bucket, like this is it, that's all you can do. You're like, I could do a bit of everything, and you didn't see that here.
Yeah, so it allowed me to kind of stretch out. It kind of let me jump out of my that first box I was in creatively, right? So I was able to kind of like pivot my career and use everything that I'd learned, a lifetime of lessons, right? To start Profield Reserve. I'm able to build off of that in a certain way that now I think I'm moving into like a space where it's like something that feels a little more authentic for myself. So Profield Reserve set the table for me to start Field Club Media because of the collaborative efforts, just the spaces it was opening, and also just like people are going to start to get to see a side of me that they just don't know, right?
So Profield, you opened up in 2020. Was that right before the pandemic, or was that during the...
Right when the pandemic started. So literally we were supposed to open, the week we were supposed to open is when the shutdowns happened, and then we had to stay shut for 2 months. But in that time, I still came down here, would work on things, tinker around. That's kind of like, was able to kind of figure out what Profield could be. So when the world did open back up, we were able to hit the ground running.
Who were some of the creators you worked with at that time? Because did you have that, like right now you have a big network, you have a lot of friends that are artists of all kinds, right? At that time, Did you really have any, or did someone like reach out like, hey man, like I can't do a performance anywhere, can we use your store for that?
Yeah. So kind of how that happened was like you open the door, right? And just over time, someone's gonna walk in that knows other people that hopefully you've provided a good enough experience where they go tell someone else and they tell a friend or they put it on social media. So I think just over those first like couple months of like actually being open, it allowed people to kind of, get to know like a little bit more about us. And I would say the the people that need to stamp you started to like figure out what we were up to down here. And when I say stamp you, like people that like, I trust their judgment, right? So if they're gonna come through and they're gonna say, yeah, this is amazing, I need to put more people on, or I would love to throw an event here. You could almost call them like tastemakers, right? So we got like Sir Eddie C, we got Zato, we've got Jerry, a multitude of just artists and just creatives. Jessie Donovan, we did a collaborative effort with her. So it's just been a multitude of amazing events that, I don't know.
It's just like like everyone was like you had the first person come through and they told their friend, like literally just organically building a community versus like, hey, we have one event here and that's it. It's like, no, people are just kind of casually coming in, maybe getting clothes, talking to you day by day. And then it just grew, it blossomed. And so you were doing Profield for several years and that opened up opportunities. Like you were working with City SC. What went into, that design and working with them, at least for the first year?
Haven't really got to talk about this project, but the project was like a project of a lifetime. Like I can truly say that I designed for an American professional, like sporting team, more specifically, American soccer team. So for me, there's only 30 something teams, maybe less. I don't know.
Yeah.
But to say that I got to open up the team shop and sold out of several products at a high price point, and people are still to this day asking me for it. It was a pretty cool thing to be able to be like entrusted and to like have that like insight also what they were up to, like driving out to their office and sitting down with people that had graciously invited us in to work on a project to open that team shop. So it was an experience of a lifetime. Yeah, it was really cool. I wish we could have just got to live with it a little longer and got to just really like have some cool events like built out around it, because it was such a well-received collection without really any like hurrah.
Yep.
So it shows you kind of like the power of like the community we have, and also like a testament to like the quality that we were bringing to the table. So it was a pretty cool experience for me. It
was like I was seeing people I never thought I'd see wearing your merch. Like your merch is made for everyone of all shapes, sizes, whether you're county, city, wherever. But it was like there were people I was seeing, I remember seeing like someone that was in their late 50s wearing it. I was like, damn, Chris, like you're doing, but like that's awesome, because that same person may have not come in here for the first time, but now they're wearing your stuff. But one thing I've kind of noticed is like Profield is everywhere, concerts, events, just everywhere. I mean, I was at the improv shop and one of the instructors was wearing it. I was like, damn, man, you're
wild.
It's
wild.
How does that feel?
Yeah, man, it's surreal, to be honest with you. Like, to know, like, I don't even know if I understand the magnitude, or I couldn't even tell you how many pieces like left this, but every piece that left here was like touched by me. Like literally nothing like came through here without me like being involved in it. And to have that many people just like support what I was doing and ultimately appreciate what I was bringing to the table, which I think was very much different than what they were being offered at the time in this city. And it's not gone away, right? You can still get it online. You can get the core stuff. There's the other things I'm working on with like that behind the scenes, and those will be unveiled very soon. But there's just to be entrusted to just like, I don't know, to get to build a company in front of the city, with the city, and it's been a really interesting experience.
It's the thing you were looking for, that when you first came here, you're like, I got to go to a big city. Like, I have this vision, and it's playing out.
Right.
And it's happening.
It feels crazy, honestly, just to think like you're that small town kid saying, I'm going to go to the city one day and I'm going to change my life. Mm-hmm. It's crazy because of, like, just the ebbs and flows of life. Little did I know I would be like flipping a store over to be like this all-encompassing like media and like cultural hub and curating art shows, but still getting to like dabble in the things I enjoy, because what people loved like Profield for was the design, but now you're getting ready to get introduced to even more design, and also introduced to work through my curated eye, because the people I invite in here, if you trust my vision, if you trust like what I like or the things that I bring to the table, that was just what I could bring to the table. Mm-hmm. Now just imagine once I bring my stuff to the table and I start basically curating in the best of what this city has to offer. Now we're really talking. I couldn't do that with Profield Reserve because there's projects coming to me that aren't like sports leaning.
Yeah.
I can't just not do this. It would be a disservice to this city and to the community for me not to make this switch over so I can be of service, because I have a skill set, I have space, I have a multitude of things, and also a huge Rolodex of people that can get anything done in the city. So this space will do more service than what Profield could do. And at the end of the day, it's a name.
Yeah, let's dive into that though.
Yeah.
You know, people they would come in here before, and it was, you know, you had the different shelves. You were selling sneakers, a little bit of everything, and people can still get Profield, like you said, online, and you have a few pieces here. But now you've ventured onto Field Club Media, where you're looking to highlight artists, you know, share your vision, so people trust you because your name's tied to it. But also you're giving them an opportunity to actually earn money in this city. Because as an artist, you know, I forgot what the number is, hundreds of millions of dollars is generated, but it's like the artists
almost $1 billion.
And artists are still having to work their 9-to-5s.
Yes.
We know we have all the artists, we're getting into all the articles, they're still having to work that 9-to-5. So with Field Club Media, when did that really hit you? Like, that's the name, this is the vision, this is what I'm gonna do?
Yeah. So about 6 months ago, sitting there, I'd written Field Club on this piece of tape. And at that time, we were throwing event after event after event, and there was just so much being, I guess, pushed through this space that was just an abundance of creativity. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, we've got to channel this through something, right? At that time, we were calling like the Profield Reserve kickbacks, we were calling them field clubs, right? So through those field clubs, a lot of the people that are coming through, they're photographers, they're painters, they make beats, they rap, they do food, a multitude of so many different types of people from so many different walks of life. People that have been raised here, people that have moved here, just like me, people that are just in town for a short time, are able to come and congregate and to, I don't know, have those safe, like, moments of just like being just existing, and nothing is like being asked of you, mm-hmm. other than to just socialize and have a good time. And then also, while you're here, we want to introduce you to what we have. So that's our art, our shirts, our food, right? Because we can now be a space, an all-encompassing space for people to be able to just treat it as a space instead of just like it's a clothing store. It's like I want it to feel like it's a space where it's curated for the community. We have a little bit of everything. If you need a shirt, we have a shirt. If you need a hat because it's sunny out. If you need music for your house, we'll have it. But what we're gonna do is curate it through the local lens. So Right now, I'm able to intake Northside Soul, and she has a temporary pop-up for the time being. So this is all her stuff. But right now, while I'm working on getting my own inventory in and housing local prints and artwork in those bins, she's using the space. So it's just what this space is going to be able to do is give a central location for you to access it. Mm-hmm. Now, am I going to have everyone in here that should be in here? That's impossible. Like, there's so much art, so much amazing art in the city. Like, I'm not going to be able to shove everyone in here. But what I can do is I can create a space where everyone can kind of flow through here, and we can kind of create channels of, can we get you a temporary show in here? Can we get you directed to the right person? Can we figure out the educational tools that we need as artists? But also, can we put things in place for the community that are consistent for everyday life? For example, me and Ricky, run clubs are like the rave right now. But Ricky's been working on this for 2 years, and probably about a year or so ago, I started bugging him saying, you should start coming down here on Tuesdays. Mm-hmm. And it took me around a year to convince him, like, bro, come down here on a Tuesday and just show up. Because we'd have events and we'd activate the space, and anytime he'd come down here, it'd be his bigger crowds. And it was just a different part of the city, typically. Yeah. You don't get to see out much because there's just not much going on out here that is just like low-key community, just...
Not like, hey, you have to come here and drink. Like, that's the only thing. It's
right?
Like,
so we put it in place, and now you're pulling anywhere from 60, 70, 80, maybe upwards of 100 people. We've only been doing it a month. Crazy. So that's a year of me nudging someone and saying, bring the energy that you have over here, because I have space for them to like take up.
You saw like, hey, this group would work with that group.
Yes.
Come here. I know the first time it may just be you. The next time it's probably going to be 20, 30, 60, 100, whatever. It's just... Absolutely. I see that. Sometimes it just makes sense. Like, certain people need to be in the same room, and you know that those two people are in the same room. It's just going to work. Yeah. And it's like I think it's 2 months ago, I had that event with Ozzy. And I was telling him, I was like, there are people of influence. They're an influencer, like an influencer. Like, society considers me that, and I'm just like, I'm just Braden, I'm living. I hope I influence you to have a great day, whatever. But there's an influencer, people of influence, and people who are influential. And, you know, I think people get caught up on social media, like, oh, the numbers and this and that. I'm like, no, it's those like people like you, like, whether you know it or not, you're all three. You have influence. You're influential, and you're an influencer. Yeah. Or the influencers are wearing your clothes, right? Yeah. And so to be someone of that much like influence, what pressure comes with that? Because like you and I are in a lot of rooms we talk about, and it's bigger than us, and we're representing a lot of people behind us. Yes.
Yeah. The mission has become bigger. I think the biggest thing was to like have to always keep producing when like, as a creative, as someone that needs downtime, as someone that like needs to like disconnect from like the hustle and bustle of what the everyday world has turned into. It's important, like, you have like your running mates and like them being like other spaces. I'm not here to take up any space that you can hold down just fine. You know, it's important for us to be able to like be okay with all of us being in the room together and learning from each other, or just even being able to have access to each other's platforms and spaces, and it become a regular thing. I think that's also, it's like we do a lot of just like one-offs. Yeah. When we could absolutely like literally take all the lines in the sand and just work, just get in the rooms together, build these things through community, educate the community as to why they should support what you're trying to do as a creative. Or, why to come to the events, why to spend money on a ticket. I think what we're trying to do, and I may be getting off topic, but is kind of get the general public to figure out how to support like the local ecosystem again. We're seeing a lot of things like closing, like left and right, and just things just feel a little like different. Like areas of the city just don't feel like as vibrant as they should be. Downtown's trying to always, address the things that are a daily thing with them. So it's like we have a great opportunity right now, like a lot of us, to come together and how do we activate these places? How do we make this city an attractive place to come to want to travel to? And I think it's going to take some of us that are kind of maybe going about it a different way to just show it through our lens, and maybe if anything, we just add to what's already going on out there. But I trust what I'm trying to currently build, and how to showcase the city, like it's going to be through my lens, and like unapologetically, like I'm excited for that because I'm of one. I just think I look at things differently. I see things differently. I am a transplant, so I have the luxury of just seeing kind of where I can inject where I need to inject. I'm not trying to take over the city. I'm not trying to take over the world. I'm just trying to inject what I see could help in the places that I'm welcomed in. So currently, I am more on the side of let's get more art into the community's hands. Let's have more activations that are more community leading. Let's get the run clubs going, and make them a thing that's around for forever. Yeah. So the goal before like the run club fad was to just get one in place, and it was every Tuesday. So whether half the crowd falls off over the next like couple weeks because it's not a popular thing anymore, but let's just say it does.
102 degrees too.
Let's just say everyone continues to want to keep running. They now have a space to meet for the rest of their lives. So, we get these other things put in place where you're getting tennis put in place, and you can get tournaments put on. Like that local like ecosystem of like, let's see who's the best on the block again too. Let's just actually get out on the court, or just go stand on the fence and know who's out there. Like
it's bigger too than this, because people, let's say you get 60, 80 people coming here on a Tuesday. They're more than likely going to maybe Elaine's or somewhere along Cherokee Street to eat.
Exactly.
You have musicians coming in here all the time. Yes. What's across the street?
Yeah.
Record store. Yeah. So it's like, it's bigger than just the dollars that's being spent here. Yeah. So you were talking about curating events, or creating a space for artists and people to get together. You've done that recently, not just here, but at Sophie's. And so how did that project come about? And then let's talk about the pieces that are in there.
Man, okay, so this has maybe been a couple years in the making, just kind of under the surface. I would consider Gina a dear friend now. We were having pop-ups here and events, and she would always come in, support, purchase something from the artist collection. And I genuinely think she liked the stuff, right? Yeah. So one day she was just like, let me know if you ever, want to work on something. Let's sit down and talk. So hit her up one day and was like, what opportunities do you have? What are you envisioning? And she was like, you have an opportunity to curate your own show. And by that, it was curate an entire exhibition of just my work.
Crazy.
That's how it could have went. I was like, I don't think everyone wants to see like all this work, because a lot of it just has nothing to do. You just don't know me on that, to that capacity. So a lot of that work just isn't going to resonate. And also, I don't know if I have enough work to fill an entire gallery. Who knows? I probably could have. You just make pieces bigger and have them blown up. But after the success of Together We Ball, which was the art show 6 months previous at the Luminary, I had access already to some great, phenomenal artists. So I was like, let's just continue this. Like, I have a platform. They have this huge space for me to fill. I've seen enough work. Like, there's 40 artists in here. I could have put another 60 probably, right? Honestly, I could fill multiple galleries around the city. Like, the amount of phenomenal work in this city.
We're gonna zoom in. We're gonna make sure to save that part.
Yeah, I could fill galleries full of work, and it would be phenomenal. Like, and that's also an arm of Field Club Media. Is under that, I can represent these artists. The goal is, once we kind of get through all the kinks, because we are building this in real time, is to create an ecosystem and a commerce system to where we can teach them how to be in front of, because I have a retail background, I have an e-commerce background, I know how to stock things, I know how to package things up and ship them. I have built 2 6-figure businesses based on e-commerce and clothing. So what's else something you can add to an artist's repertoire is I can give them merch now, and I can house them, and I can represent them. I can get you into these spaces. Now, who knows if I get another opportunity after Sophie's, but for right now, we have 4 months to activate that space with 40 local artists.
So it's gonna be there during music at the intersection?
Yep, it'll be all the way through.
Cool, okay.
And with that, there'll be artists where over the next 3.5 months, I can go to them and say, let's do a collaborative project together. I really like that print. Let's make it into an accessible price print, and now we can drop it down at the store, you know, on Cherokee Street, or Field Club Media, right? So now we're gonna put a little extra money in someone's pocket because of the platform, and I have space. So now we can highlight certain artists out of there that have the capacity, or we have the time to do it. And even once the show ends, that doesn't mean I can't work with the artist. I've now created a relationship, and I still have the space. So if there's a cartoonist, I'm like, I think you could sell 50 of those shirts, man. I got a space for you to come and sell it. I can print it for you. I can even help you develop it. My background is product design. My background is bringing like just things to life. There's not a product that we can't figure out, and that doesn't mean I know how to do it. I'll just find the person that can do it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited with the trajectory of like what Field Club Media can be. It's something Profield could never be. It's Profield times 20, because you're still going to be able to get even more like, but it's more like artistic leaning at this point. This is a scanned in Polaroid that we have now figured out how to break down and do full color print. Now we can do this for merch, that if you want to support what we're doing here, it funds like what we do. It helps me book things. It helps fix the store up, right? So these things are put into place because yes, it is a piece of art, but also it's like you treat it like Clubhouse merch.
Yeah.
But
it's bigger too. Like you said, it's funding the events that go on here.
Yeah.
And so I think it was in 2021, I did that Cherokee Street series. Like, I don't know if many people know this, but I grew up really close, like 2 minutes from here, right? And I tell people there was a time where I couldn't even walk up to Cherokee Street. I couldn't walk down Cherokee Street because of all the stuff that was going on. And so it's like whenever I started doing the food series where I highlight different pockets of St. Louis or different types of food, Cherokee Street was the very first one. And I think that was like, I met you right before that, but that's when I really got to talk to you as me and Juno. And so I think it's important because it's like you're building that community, and I can tell people exactly what this area was like without that aspect.
Yep.
You know, there was a time where, you know, if there were 3 or 4 people in front of a store, the police were called.
Yep.
You know, and now you create a space where there's 60 people out front to run and get some exercise, things that you should be doing.
Just even within the last 2 months, we had an art show here that was up for a day. In one night, they pulled 300 people.
In here? Well, and at Sophie's, you had over 700 people on opening night. I mean, that's
the space
unheard of.
is pulling numbers. Like, if you want to keep it real, the space is pulling numbers. When the right events come through and we actually get to like stretch out and do our own thing, we can pull numbers. With like, if you opened up spaces and just like paid for the talent, like people would come in droves, but it needs to be like consistent, like access.
Well, you know, let's say there's somebody that's watching this, maybe they work for a corporation, they're high up there, or they're just someone that has the means to sponsor something you're doing. Why is that important? And then how can they get involved with that?
It's important because it's put it into entrusted hands, and I know how to make sure that these events are through just an authentic like lens, through the service of the community, and to know that like events like this need to exist, just to keep the morale up, keep the community engaged, to make sure people are in the room. I mean, it helps build the ecosystem of a city, is for people to have spaces to meet and congregate. So with that money and support, it goes into the right hands, because now I have to entertain these people, and then it allows me to just make the proper decisions as to where I can plug the holes, right? If I'm just like, I would love to get a new fence around Benton Park, you know, tennis courts, or like be able to help fund like getting it repaved. Just things like that is like kind of like what I'm looking for, and it's just honestly for the community. So I can help facilitate whatever needs to be done to get people back outside, supporting the ecosystem, and rediscovering their city, and that's their parks, their local establishments, different neighborhoods, and to just use the resources that are before us. I don't know, the purpose is bigger, so I'm just kind of led by just one foot in front of the other at this point.
Well, and I tell people this too, like let's say, you know, with any creator, any artist, it's like we invest in them, and they're going to invest in other people. So it's like, let's just say on this podcast, you know, when we start bringing in the sponsors, that allows me to have someone else setting up the cameras, the mics, editing. So then that allows me to focus on another thing and build jobs, build the infrastructure. And, you know, it allows those who forever they would leave St. Louis. We're focused on creating things that keep people here.
Absolutely.
Creating those jobs here.
I call it putting the battery in the back of people. Like being able to even just give 40 people an opportunity to be on a wall for 4 months is like a huge thing to happen. And I am so happy that like I can represent that many artists and like give them that opportunity. Some are gonna take that opportunity and thrive and like run with it, and hopefully they get to go in more shows. This may be a time where someone's just like, that was enough. Like I got to do it. I don't need to do it again. But at least these 40 people agreed to like be on a wall for 4 months, and I think it's beautiful. I think there is an appetite in the city to show more work and to have more spaces to like intake this work. So like I said, if you have space for me to get these like long-term, like basically exhibitions or residencies of local work,
hit them up.
Let me know, because this is how you're going to get people into spaces. This is just my beliefs, right? Is if you show the city, you inject it with people of the city, then people will come out of their house to support, because they want to come support and see the people that they are working with every day. They want to see the person. If your bus driver is like, hey, I'm in an art show, and that's the bus driver you've been for the last 10 years, I'm going, right? Yeah. But if you're just like every single time you're like, oh, this artist from Chicago or Scandinavia, or we're like, oh.
Why is no one coming?
Because we don't know, because we don't care. I mean, not that we don't care. There's always going to be a segment of St. Louis that's tapped in. But like if you're wanting the general public to just really like buy back in, then you need to fill it with local work and local music and local food, and not just from just your center of the circle. You need to branch out and bring it from all different places. Like
actual collaboration.
Yes, absolutely. If the work is good, then give it a platform. Like there should be no lines in the sand, you know. all these markets are overcharging for spaces for you to come like pull up. Half the time they're not making any money. It's just like I don't see something that's really conducive until we start moving these entities inside and allowing them to work through the kinks.
Yeah.
We're very quick to, and this is probably most cities, or any town or anything, it's quick to discard something if it doesn't work right away. And we got to kind of get away from that like mentality and like that structure of like, it's not work. It's like,
It takes time.
me and Ricky, it took a year.
Well, like how many people are just, I'm sure over time people are like, well, why do you just let people hang out and they're not buying anything? I'm sure people have probably mentioned that to you.
Oh yeah.
But it's like,
absolutely.
now look what you have built. I used to have people say, why are you creating content for businesses, especially during the pandemic? But they're like, why are you doing that for free? And I'm like, I see the bigger picture. Like, we can build the St. Louis social media scene through food because that's familiarity. That's what everybody knows is food. But then you can introduce them to different artists or different things like that. And I think it definitely takes people like you, your project that's going on, things you do every single day. And you were talking about like that bus driver or whoever. We all consume some TV in some way, shape, or form. And so you have like what we see on the national level. But we've done a great job localizing our social media, which was one of my goals when I started. I was tired of seeing all the New York stuff, Chicago. I wanted to see it localized.
Yes.
So it's like the personalities that we used to see on TV has now become the personalities we see on social media. So like people can follow that artist even after the fact and start watching them perform, whether it's here, Music at the Intersection, wherever, off Broadway, Enterprise Center, festivals, like it allows them to grow it. So how long does this run to? You said 4 months, so
4 months through end of September. So we'll be there through end of Music at the Intersection. By then, show will be kind of coming to a close. So it's kind of like this 4-part series. Like right now, we're kind of in like documentation, like collection, like quarter one. Like think of it like a 4 like quarter basketball game. So collecting artwork from the public. So you're able to go in there, draw on a piece of paper, wad it up, shoot it, and it stays in this basket. And then probably here in the next week or so, I'll go do my first, like, open them up, get them all out, see what we have, get a majority of them, suspended, have them scanned in, and then they start becoming part of the show. So I don't know if a lot of people know that, but like it really does become like a full community like art show. Because if you go and you doodle, you write me something, whatever you want to do, and then you just wad it up, you shoot it, you leave it, it stays with us, and then we start suspending it from, there's a tree in there. We had a 40-foot cedar tree, dismembered, brought in, cut down to 12 feet, installed, and then the branches are toggled in through like the hallway walls. It's crazy. Like, go see it. Some of the most phenomenal artwork you will see at a local level.
National level too. I mean,
absolutely. It's
in the country.
It's beautiful. I would put it up there with really any show. You're gonna find so much work in there that is just, it's gonna intrigue you. Curated from top to bottom. And also I learned a lot too about like the curatorial process with Gina and Brandon too, because like let's not, it takes a team to like pull these things off. So, but to get the opportunity to go in there and learn, and just get to kind of stretch out and to get to represent all these phenomenal artists. And yeah, the goal is to give them this platform and let's see what they do with it. I'm gonna open up my space to them, and for the foreseeable future. So this is just something I fully believe in. Profield's not going anywhere. It's online. It's just one of them local brands where you now have to support online, right? But that still supports the mission. It still supports me. It still supports something. So if you're still want the product, the core stuff is on there. You can still shop it. But if you want to support kind of like this pivot of like, it's really just a name change. Basically, the ethos, the energy, everything is still there. But at this point, we get to represent more than just me and my work. Now we get to like stuff this full of phenomenal art, music, food, and the best of the best. And we're gonna find the diamonds in the rough. So I'm looking forward to it. So you're gonna have access to pop-ups, live music, collaborative efforts, whether it be a print, a t-shirt, a toy, whatever we can cook up. And this is not just a short-term thing. This is a, hopefully if this is, I have it my way, this is a 50-year thing. This is a forever thing. Like, I'll never run out of stuff to work on. And all I have to do is tap into the St. Louis.
Yeah.
And the best of the best show up and they say,
I'm ready for my time.
I'm ready, right? So we get them in here and we allow them to flourish. We give them a platform and we teach them a skill set and we go from there.
Incredible. How can people follow you?
They can find me on Field Club Media on everything. No spaces, nothing. Just Field Club Media. And when we talk about media, that's everything from sound to visual to drawing to painting to just whatever it is. So I don't want people to just think this is just like some media news. Like, this is just a way of us to just say we've got a multitude of things and we're coming as a huge unit. Like, we're one big phenomenal Rolodex. So yeah.
Foodie Friday, I'm here with Christopher. What are 3 or 4 of your favorite spots in town?
Is it La Katrine?
Yep.
Down there off of
Hampton?
Morgan Ford.
Is it El
Katrine?
And then
Off
there's
of Morgan Ford.
the other La Katrina, which is like...
Yeah,
So
I'll be getting them. They both fire. I recommend both of them. Kim Vance, down on Gravois.
Okay.
That's where I get my Chinese food. And then Emo's right over here, man.
Hey,
So Emo's right over here down the alley, the one on Jefferson. They're over there doing phenomenal work. I'll put it up there. You know, people say Hampton's Emo's is like the best. I don't know. I don't really be going to that one, but I'll put my Emo's up against theirs.
Man, that's big.
Come on, man.
I love my emos.
Hey, they take care of us over here.
Well, usually I ask dinner guests and words of wisdom, but I think we're going to have to do this podcast another time, maybe in Field Club Media in front of people.
Absolutely.
So we're going to keep you guys on your feet for next time. Or what, feet? Keep you on your toes.
Keep you on your toes, your feet, your hands.
Awesome.
We'll see y'all.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, Christopher.
Absolutely.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it.